Hi everyone, I'm Maggie White. I'm a senior at Webster County High School, and I'm currently enrolled in English 102. And so for this class, we had to choose an issue that is local and something that we are very passionate about and write a paper about it and present about it. So I chose to write about the teaching shortage because it is something that is extremely near and dear to my heart. I grew up with a mother as an educator, and I plan to become an educator in the future. So this is very, very important to me. This is a very prevalent issue in my community. So what's the issue? So there has been a decrease in teacher retention at schools, especially small rural ones. So this leads to an increasing teacher shortage. And a teacher shortage means that there are not enough qualified educators in a building. So people who are not certified yet. And you have to have kind of a long-term sub come and fill in. So the teacher shortage is nothing new within the United States. However, it's becoming even more noticeable. In a small rural school in Western Kentucky, and this is my school, 17 teachers left between the 2021-2022 and the 2022-2023 school year. And so there are also 3 more teachers leaving between the fall and spring semester. So obviously this is a very, very big issue. This is something that not only my school is dealing with, but plenty of other schools are leaving, or plenty of other teachers are leaving their schools. So teachers are leaving their positions because of the lack of the support that they receive from their administration. So in this graphic, it shows that the number of bachelor degrees in education has declined over the last few decades. So obviously with the lessening amount of students that are getting a degree in education, the less teachers that there are going to be in the future, so the teacher shortage will continue to increase. So this shows that this is not just a right now problem. This teacher shortage is not just happening. It's not just really bad right now and it's going to get better. It looks like it's going to get worse because of how many people or how many students are choosing to not go into the field of education and become teachers. So why even is this a problem? So the teaching shortage is an extremely grave issue, and people kind of like to just oh, it's okay, they're just teachers, they're not that influential, but they are the most influential people in children's lives, and because they shape the next generation, they're influential to all of our lives. So it is proven that as many as 50% percentile points higher on achievement measures are scored by individuals that have actual teachers rather than just the fill-ins that the school provides. And that was a quote from an article. And so this shows, as I said earlier, how teacher shortages are lack of qualified teachers. Schools try and put unqualified teachers, people who might have been, are looking towards actively becoming alternatively certified, or they just do the long-term subbing positions. They put those in a classroom to act as a real teacher all year. However, they don't actually have their degree in education, and so it's the students that have those teachers are less likely to score higher on tests than those with actual teachers. So this shortage of teachers affects multiple people. It does not just affect students. However, students are obviously the most prevalent in who this most directly affects, but this is how it affects students is the teacher shortage affects students because of the lack of stability that they have with teachers constantly rotating within their school. So students that do not have the traditionally trained teacher have lower test scores. Whenever we refer back to that quote, these students could feel unwanted because they could believe that they are the reason that their teachers are leaving. And although that might not be true, that doesn't matter. Kids still believe different things. They believe, I must have been the reason. I just was not a good student. I'm just not a good kid. That's why they're leaving. I wasn't good enough. And so these built up feelings of unwantedness and not scoring as highly as others on tests, not feeling like they have a stable environment, can lead to feelings of hatred against their school. And that's not something that we want anyone to feel against anybody or anything, and especially not the place that they should be taking pride in. So The teaching shortage affects staff within an environment because those staff members that chose to stay at the school could begin to feel overwhelmed because they're having to do more than their share of work because there are not enough qualified educators within the building. So they could also feel overwhelmed because they're being pushed into positions before they're ready. And so those positions can include a department head where you have to give presentations at meetings, and you lead team meetings. They could also become advanced placement educators within their second year of teaching when they're still learning how to cater to the kids who are not taking honors classes. And so that's a lot of pressure placed on those teachers. And so they're going to become more overwhelmed and stressed, and they might feel like they're being overworked and underpaid. And it snowballs into all of these different effects that eventually lead to teachers leaving their positions. And so the teacher shortage also affects the Board of Education because they have a pressure placed on them to find a solution for the problems that a shortage of teachers create. And these problems can be for both the staff members, so the staff members could both complain and urge for a solution to the Board of Education, and parents can complain. And so some of the issues that this teacher shortage creates that we've kind of been over already is that the lower test scores, again, which is huge whenever you're talking about education, because that is how schools get funding, is through, there's a list of things, but one of the main things that schools get funding for, is their test scores. And so the pressure and anxiety that is placed on students also is major. Not only students, but also teachers. And so the Board of Education is very much so has kind of weight on their shoulders to solve the issues that this shortage creates. And so my solution for the teaching shortage is to create an accountability system. And so this is because it gives educators feelings of support within their school. And so it guarantees that their voices are heard and that action is taken when it needs to be. So this system will help educators because support is exactly what they need to feel valued. And whenever you look at the teacher shortage, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but it's not necessarily the pay is not the only reason that they're leaving, but the main reason is because they don't feel like they're wanted or supported. And so no one would want to stay at their job if they don't feel like they're making a difference, especially a positive difference, or if they're not wanted or needed. And so it's essential to give teachers the same respect and admiration as other professions. And so because educators deserve it. When you think of how much an educator has to deal with on a daily basis, not only are they constantly surrounded by kids, they're also surrounded by adults who can sometimes make them feel this way, like they're not wanted or needed, or they have no say in the environment that they work. And so whenever you would look at a different situation, if a teacher went and explained to somebody how they were feeling unwanted and unsupported, if it was a teacher explaining that, they would be like, well, you're there for the kids, like you need to stay for them. But if it was any other profession, they would say your mental health is more important, and that's unacceptable. You need to have a long discussion with your boss, or trying to figure out a solution, or just quit your job altogether. And so educators are no different. Their mental health is important too. And so this accountability system would allow them to have a voice and to allow themselves to feel supported. So in order for this accountability system to be effective, a few things are needed. So first would be a Google form for teachers to fill out an analysis of any conversation that they have of importance with the administration. So if the administration if an administrator and a teacher are just talking about, this should be a jeans day, or, how'd your son do at that football game last night? They don't have to fill out a form about this, but any ideas that they have to be brought forth need to be written down and recorded. So this is to show that the conversation actually took place and what was discussed. And because I always believe, and this is something that has always been said to me, is when it's written down, it's in stone, it's proof. whenever you just talk and you don't record it, then it's just kind of hearsay. So this would be sent to the Department of Human Resources at the Board of Education for them to go through and analyze and see what's kind of going on, and that it will be on record for them. So if an administrator was like, well, that conversation never took place, there would be a record of it at the Board of Education. So then secondly, an anonymous survey is needed for teachers to fill out twice per semester, so per 9 weeks, to see if they're feeling supported. So this is also an opportunity for teachers to voice what they think would make both the school as a whole and their work environment more supportive. So this would be sent to the Human Resources Department of the Board of Education also, and it's so important that the survey is anonymous because a lot of concern about this portion is that, like the administration could treat the teachers differently depending on how the teachers feel, but with the anonymous nature of this survey, I would not be concerned because the administrators would not know who filled this out and who said what, basically. And so the third thing needed would be interviews that are chosen at random with a teacher and the Board of Education to discuss everything that is happening within the school. So this is because the Board of Education needs to be extremely involved in this process. This is really the Board of Education's process to try and have teachers stay in their school district. So conducting interviews is more personal than a survey. Even though surveys are less time-consuming and cut out the fluff, it's important that teachers know that their voices are heard. And so one of the most effective ways for teachers to know that is to have human connection and to see that the Board of Education members are actively listening and paying attention to what they have to say, not just that they're skimming through their responses on a survey. So the end goal of this is to have teachers feel supported in their role. So without educators, there's no future because they're the ones that are leading and shaping the next generation. So this solution also aims to increase teacher retention within a school through giving teachers support. So a school is nothing without its teachers, so that's why it's so important to keep qualified educators in the classroom, specifically in one school. So because in order to keep them in one school, you have to give them support. And so they need to make relationships with students and to try and impact them in a positive way. And so if a teacher is only in one school or in the high school for 1 year, it's hard to make a long-lasting impact, and especially whenever you look at a high school student, on those students if you only stay 1 year. And so it's almost impossible to achieve. So we want teachers to stay at their school and to feel supported. So the concern that I hear the most often and is the most major is, what if the administration won't change? What if they won't actively work towards being better and making their teachers feel supported? So the thing is that there will not be a choice for the administration. So this program is implemented by the board office, not at the discretion of the administration. So the administration has to take this system extremely seriously, because if they don't, then they could be at risk of losing their job. So if they don't strive to make a difference, then you don't want them at your school. So this is not about the administration's wants, but rather the teacher's needs. So the administration chooses what the school focuses on, and schools wanting to focus or to increase teacher retention need to strive to improve cooperation levels. So they need to work on actually working with the teachers instead of saying, hey, this is what you're doing. It's, hey, what do you all think we need to do? What have you been seeing in your classrooms that would help us in making decisions for our school? So they need to focus on others rather than just selfishly putting their own ideas to the forefront. So one solution that has been tried in the past to kind of increase teacher retention and to decrease the teacher shortage and have more people go into the field of education is to pay off student loans. So many individuals believe that Just offering educators the ability to pay off their student loans would increase teacher retention. However, there are many different reasons why this does not work. So the government gave away $96 billion in 2015 through 16. However, this does not solve the issue because teachers, they still don't have a high salary, and so the incentive of loan forgiveness is still not enough for individuals to lean towards being in education. There's still 64,000 teachers in the 2015 through 2016 school year and an annual shortage of 112,000 teachers in the 2017 and 18 school year. So this shows that even with the incentive of loan forgiveness, the teacher shortage is still higher than ever. There's still not enough qualified educators for our students, no matter how much money you might give teachers. So I wanted to end this presentation with pictures of educators that have shaped my life. I would not be the same without these influential people. So teachers are some of the most important people in the world. And it is time that we treat them as such. They deserve our love, respect, and they deserve our time, respect, and attention, and they deserve to feel supported and feel loved, because without these people, I know that I would not want to go into the field of education. And so we need to keep people like this in the business to help lead and shape others and to hopefully get more educators within the world. So here's my Works Cited page. I just want to thank you so much for listening to what I had to say about the teacher shortage. It's been a pleasure being in this class. Thank you so much.